Welcome to my living room. I'm Rosy Carrick and I'm going to tell you a little bit about Musclebound. The inspiration to start writing it, and also the kind of main thread going through it, the show, is when my daughter Olive turned 17 and was just getting into her own first relationship, was asking me a lot of questions, which was making me reflect a lot on my sexual past, and not in a good way. At the same time, my relationship at the time was coming to an end, and I was reconnecting with the heady world of macho 80s action films, or more specifically, the very homoerotic torture scenes that feature in almost all of those films, you know, like Conan, He-Man, that kind of thing. As a child, I was completely obsessed with them. You know, I found them so erotic and powerful, and I would act them out on my own in what I guess was some kind of proto-masturbatory fantasy world. So the show charts my journey and my real life attempts, I guess, to reconnect with those very powerful sexual influences of my youth in order to work out why the sexual dynamic in all my adult relationships was never quite matching it. And I basically just spent about 2 years becoming completely obsessed with muscle men. I mean, I went to bodybuilding competitions. I stalked Arnold Schwarzenegger and Dolph Lundgren and interviewed them. I made up all kinds of crazy stories to get involved in different things, and at the same time as supporting Olive in all of these questions that were coming up about her new relationship, about sex and orgasm and how everything worked and what you should do next. And so the story that comes out is one of power and performance and sexuality. You know, what does it mean? I wanted to find out, to be sexually powerful, to have real sexual agency, particularly as a woman in heterosexual relationships, but in general, you know, for everyone. I had never seen anything before on stage or in literature or anything that focused really solidly on open, frank sexual conversations between a mother and a daughter. And I certainly didn't have that kind of relationship or those kind of conversations with my mum when I was growing up. But I had Olive when I was 19. And so when she was there at 17, getting into this adult world, I was thinking, God, what do I wish I could have seen at that time? Like, what were the conversations I wish I could have been having? And that's all that goes into the show. A lot of extremely sexy videos of muscly men being tortured. I think, first of all, I was delighted and very surprised to find out how hilarious people thought it was when I did the first previews, because I felt like I was sharing a lot of really personal stuff. You know, I realized I spent a lot of my life kind of being a bit of an actor during sex and doing the kind of stuff, or being the kind of sexy woman that I felt I ought to be, which was quite disconnected from the kind of stuff I found genuinely very sexy. And so it felt quite shameful to talk about that, honestly. But because the journey of it is me basically doing everything in my power to get laid by a muscle man. And I'm quite an obsessive person, and I talk in a lot of detail about what happened and what I did. It's just, people found it really funny. My hope is that the show will make people feel more confident in being sexually open. Like, not just sexually open, actually. It's about kind of recognizing your needs and not being afraid to talk about them publicly, not being ashamed of them. So it had a massive effect on me to say all this stuff out loud. And my hope is that people will be more open and be more shameless, and also that they will go and watch He-Man. Because I've noticed when I first started watching He-Man again a few years ago, when I was first reconnecting with it, it had a 16% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. It's now got a 21% rating. So word is spreading and opinions are rising. So by the end of this tour, I want that film to have at least a 50% rating. That's how I'll know Musclebound has been a success.